Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Tito, and I like helping people. I like making videos that can be useful and helpful, and so kind of getting back to my roots on that. And for this video, we're going to be talking about Google Fi and its data calculation, as this is something that, people kind of tend to get a little bit confused on. At least some people do. And I don't blame them, because it can be a bit tricky. Now, basically, for those who don't know, Google Fi does have a 22 gigabyte cap. So once you reach that 22 gigs, you are automatically slowed down to 128 kilobits per second for the remainder of your build cycle. You could opt into buying more high-speed data, but that'll cost you $10 per gigabyte of high-speed data. Of course, who wants to, pay an additional $10 more unless you absolutely need it? Now, Google Fi basically works out in several different ways. So I'm going to try to explain both of them. So we'll start off with the Fi Flex. Fi Flex basically is what it is. $20 for unlimited talk and text, $10 per gig. Bill protection at 6 gigs, so that's $60. Plus the $20 makes your bill about $80. And then, of course, taxes and fees on top of that. Now, if you want more data, because you have up till about 15 gigs on that plan, it stops charging at 6, but you can continue to use high-speed data beyond 6 gigabytes. But the cap on that is 15 gigabytes. Once you reach that, you will be slowed down to 128 kilobits per second speeds. Then you have the unlimited plan, both the simply unlimited and then they're fully unlimited with additional features. The simply unlimited is $60 a month. The full unlimited is $70 a month, and that comes with some features included in it. However, those two, the cap is 22 gigabytes of high-speed LTE 5G speeds. And then after that, you're slowed down to 128 kilobits per second. But how does one know when they've reached that cap? And for those people who are checking, are you a bit surprised when you see that you may have used more data than what you've calculated? Now, the reason that these things happen is with the Fi Flex or with the fully unlimited, so this does not include the simply unlimited, you have the ability to get data-only SIM cards. These can be used in other IoTs, such as LTE-capable tablets, maybe a little, one of these things, these little MiFi hotspot boxes, because yes, they do work in here. I've done it before. And so you're thinking you get a data-only SIM card to run on a different device, maybe even a secondary mobile phone, just using data only. However, you do have to calculate the data that's used from that data-only SIM line on top of the data that's used on your primary phone. So if you've used about 5 gigabytes on your primary phone, but say you have a tablet and you've used 13 gigs on the tablet, then your combined total usage is 18 gigabytes. 5 on the device, 5 on the data-only SIM. As if you read the fine print or even the description of data-only SIMs when you order them on Google Fi, it tells you the data that's used on that is using data from your primary line. So if you have 2 lines on your account and each phone number line has a data-only SIM connected to it, then it uses data to the responding line that it's from. So that's how that works. Now, if you have 2 lines on Google Fi, both have numbers on it, but only one of those lines ordered 2 data-only SIM cards, then that one line that has the 2 data-only SIM cards, those SIMs are pulling data calculated towards that one line. So hopefully that explains that. That's the best I can explain that. Hopefully that makes sense. And it gets pretty tricky because there are several things that can happen that could also increase data calculation when you think you're not using data. For example, if you have home Wi-Fi and your device is connected to your home Wi-Fi, you may think that you're on Wi-Fi, so data is not being calculated. However, if mobile data is not turned off, it is still slightly using data, even if you're connected to Wi-Fi. And so that will count against it. So one of the things that I suggest to people is either when you're at home, turn off mobile connection, like mobile data, when you're connected to your home Wi-Fi. Another thing that you can do where you don't have to constantly turn that on and off is to open up developer options. If you don't know how to do that, you can look up how you do it for your device, because it's not the same through every device. Most of them pretty much, you go into your settings, you go into your about device, scroll down to where it says bill number, tap that like 5 times until you see it says developer options is unlocked. If your device doesn't do it that way, there'll be a different way to do it. So just Google search how to access developer options on your smartphone, and you'll be able to know how to get there. And the reason why I say developer options is because when you're in developer options, there is a toggle that tells you to disconnect mobile data when connected to Wi-Fi. You can toggle that on, so that way when you are connected to Wi-Fi, your mobile data automatically disconnects, and that will actually stop adding calculations to data usage on your Fi account. Now, how can you see your Fi account? Obviously, the Google Fi app will show you what data is being used, and it doesn't show it in real time. I think there's like an hour delay. So yeah, just so you guys know that if it says 13.7 gigabytes used when you checked it, it doesn't mean that you actually used 13.7 gigabytes. You could have used an additional 500 megs. It hasn't been calculated yet, as it's about like an hour delay. But you can always check your Google Fi app. Now, if you're the type of person that doesn't want to have to keep constantly going into your Google Fi app to see how much data you're using, that is the reason why Android is awesome, because you can actually just put a widget on your homepage that will show data calculations. It will show data calculations for your line and for the other lines that you have if you have multiple lines on Google Fi. There is a theory out there that data is actually being miscalculated by Google. I have done some tests on that when I did have Google Fi, and I can see that there's a slight bit of a, I want to say a disconnection between what my device shows me and what Google Fi shows. And how you can check that is that you can always match what the Fi app tells you and what you use in data and what it shows when you go into settings on your device to look at data usage to see. Now, the only downside to that is that when it shows you what data you use on your smartphone device that you're using, it's only going to calculate what you used on that device. So again, if you have data only SIM cards, it's not going to calculate those. However, the Google Fi app will calculate those. But if you don't have a data only SIM card and you're like, okay, this seems like I'm using too much data, it says I used 22 gigs already, and you look on your smartphone to see, and you also got to make sure that's calibrated, right? So on your smartphone, if you started Google Fi says you've used 0 data, but on your smartphone it says you used like 18 gigabytes because your previous provider, just reset that. Make sure that it is on par and even with 0 before you start watching your data usage. And if you see any discrepancies, screenshot, hit up Google Chat, hit up Google Fi Chat and show them the discrepancy. But I just do want to say that before you jump the gun and get all hot and angry, just make sure you're looking at those factors, and that is if you're using data only SIM or if you're using mobile hotspot off your device. That does count against the data that you use. So yeah, quick tip for you guys from Google Fi. Let me know if you guys enjoyed what I had to say in this video. Hopefully it helps somebody out there. So yeah, until the next time, I'll see you guys. As always, aloha.